Today we're diving into Dan to Dan Season 1, and let me tell you, this show hits differently. Like, imagine if X-Files had a baby with your favorite rom-com, but the baby was raised by your crazy uncle who believes in both aliens and ghosts. Yeah, it's that kind of wild. Spoilers alert, what you're about to watch today will make you skip the whole season. So, we start with this girl, Ayase Momo. She's just typical high schooler, except she's not really interested in the whole normal life thing. Her style, bold, sassy, and zero tolerance for nonsense. Then there's this other guy, Okarun. He's into all things paranormal, UFOs, ghosts, you name it. The guy's practically a walking conspiracy theory blog. They're complete opposites, but somehow they end up talking, and trust me, their dynamic is pure gold. Momo's like, ghosts are real, aliens are fake, while Okarun is all, nah, aliens are real, ghosts are a scam. Naturally, they decide to settle this debate the only way two normal teenagers would, by betting on who's right. Yep, totally normal. Now here's where things get spicy. They agree to split up and investigate. Momo heads to this haunted tunnel that's supposedly crawling with spirits, while Okarun makes his way to a hospital rooftop where UFOs are rumored to hang out. I know, right? What could possibly go wrong? Spoiler? Everything. Momo's stroll to the haunted tunnel starts off chill, but as she gets closer, the vibe shifts hard. The air's heavy, there's this eerie silence, and she starts to wonder if this was such a great idea. Then, bam! Out of nowhere, some ghostly figure pops up. This isn't your Casper-type ghost either. Oh no, it's this creepy, shadowy thing that looks like it crawled straight out of a nightmare. Momo's not having it, though. She's got some fight in her and stands her ground like a total boss. Meanwhile, she's yelling at the ghost, roasting it like, what are you, a failed cosplay attempt? Pure Momo energy. Now let's cut to Okarun. My guy is on this rooftop, looking up at the sky like he's waiting for E.T. to phone home. He's hyped, though, because he really believes he's about to witness something life-changing. And guess what? He's not wrong. A freaking UFO shows up. It's big, loud, and absolutely not here to make friends. Before Okarun can even process what's happening, he gets abducted. Yup, straight up alien napped. 1 minute he's geeking out, the next he's on an alien spaceship surrounded by these weird, slimy creatures. And these aliens? They're on some next-level creep mode, talking about bananas in the most uncomfortable way possible. You can tell Okarun's regretting every life choice that led him to this moment. Back to Momo. She's dealing with her own nightmare. Turns out the ghost isn't just creepy, it's aggressive as hell. It starts chasing her, and she's sprinting through the tunnel like she's in a horror movie. But here's the twist. Momo isn't just running for her life. She's also thinking about how ridiculous this whole situation is. Like, seriously? This is my Tuesday? She eventually uses some quick thinking and manages to outsmart the ghost, at least for the moment, but you can tell this isn't over. Meanwhile, Okarun is trying to survive his alien encounter. The aliens are poking and prodding, all while spouting nonsense about human reproduction and bananas. Okarun, being the awkward legend he is, tries to reason with them. He's like, hey, maybe we don't have to do this. Let's just chill and talk about, I don't know, space or something? But nope, these aliens are not here for casual conversation. They're here to experiment, and poor Okarun is the guinea pig. Now here's where things get really crazy. Somehow, in the middle of all this chaos, Okarun discovers he has psychic powers. Like, what? Apparently, the stress of almost being turned into alien research unlocked some hidden potential in him. He starts fighting back, using his newfound abilities to mess with the aliens' tech. And let me tell you, the look on their slimy little faces? Priceless. Meanwhile, Momo's back at the tunnel thinking she's finally safe, only for the ghost to reappear. But this time, she's ready. She pulls out this talisman her grandma gave her, a real MVP move, and uses it to ward off the spirit. Turns out her grandma wasn't just some eccentric old lady, she was a legit medium. Momo's like, thanks, Grandma, as she watches the ghost dissolve into nothingness. And just when you think things couldn't get more intense, we cut back to Okarun, who's in full-on superhero mode. He's zapping aliens left and right, all while throwing out one-liners like he's auditioning for an action movie. At one point he yells, Take that, you overgrown jelly beans! Honestly, the guy deserves a medal for keeping his sense of humor in this mess. We left off with Okarun unlocking his psychic powers and turning into an alien slaying machine, right? Well, now he's in a full-blown battle on the spaceship. The aliens are panicking because they didn't expect their test subject to go full-on Professor X. They tried to restrain him with their weird tentacle tech, but Okarun's like, not today. He's blasting psychic waves, flipping tables, and making a total mess of their spaceship. It's absolute mayhem. In the middle of all this chaos, Okarun manages to hack into the aliens' navigation system with his newfound powers. He's not entirely sure what he's doing, he's just winging it. But somehow he activates some kind of self-destruct sequence. Classic Okarun move. The aliens are scrambling, trying to fix things, but it's too late. The ship starts shaking, alarms are blaring, and Okarun uses the distraction to escape. He grabs some alien gadget on his way out because, hey, free souvenir, right? Cut back to Momo. She's finally out of the haunted tunnel and catching her breath when she realizes something's off. Remember that talisman her grandma gave her? Yeah, it's glowing now. That's never a good sign. She starts feeling this weird energy and senses that Okarun's in trouble. She doesn't know how she knows. She just does. Call it intuition, or maybe some kind of spiritual connection. Either way, she decides to go find him. But it's not as simple as just walking to where he is. No, this is Dandadan, and nothing is ever simple. On her way, Momo runs into another supernatural entity. This one's not a ghost, though. It's some kind of yokai. And let me tell you, this thing is straight up nightmare fuel. It's got multiple eyes, sharp claws, and this creepy laugh that echoes in the air. Momo's first reaction: you've got to be kidding me. She's exhausted, annoyed, and absolutely not in the mood for another fight. The yokai doesn't care about her mood, though. It attacks, and Momo's forced to defend herself. She tries using her talisman again, but this yokai's tougher than the ghost she faced earlier. It's dodging her attacks, taunting her, and generally being a pain in the neck. Momo's scrambling, trying to figure out a way to take it down, when suddenly she hears a voice in her head. It's Okarun. Apparently, his psychic powers now include telepathy, and he's guiding her through the fight. He's like, aim for its weak spot. It's the glowing eye. Momo follows his advice, lands a critical hit, and the yokai disintegrates into a puff of smoke. At this point, Momo's like, okay, what the heck is going on? She finally reaches the spot where Okarun crash-landed after escaping the spaceship. And oh boy, he looks rough. His clothes are singed, his hair's a mess, and he's holding that alien gadget like it's the Holy Grail. Momo's like, dude, what happened to you? And Okarun, being the awkward guy he is, tries to play it cool. He's like, oh, just fought some aliens, no big deal. But before they can even process what's happened, the alien gadget starts beeping. Turns out it's some kind of tracker, and the aliens are on their way to retrieve it. Momo and Okarun barely have time to react before a beam of light shoots down from the sky and another UFO appears. This one's even bigger and more menacing than the first. The aliens are back, and they're not messing around. What follows is an epic chase scene straight out of a sci-fi blockbuster. Momo and Okarun are running for their lives, dodging laser beams and trying to figure out how to destroy the tracker. Okarun's psychic powers are still a bit unstable, so he's struggling to use them effectively. Meanwhile, Momo's doing her best to protect both of them with her talisman. The two of them are bickering the entire time, which adds a nice touch of humor to the chaos. Eventually, they come up with a plan. Okarun uses his powers to create a diversion, while Momo sneaks up to the UFO with the tracker. She attaches the gadget to the ship, essentially turning their weapon against them. It's a risky move, but it works. The UFO starts malfunctioning, and the aliens are forced to retreat. As the ship disappears into the night sky, Momo and Okarun collapse on the ground, completely exhausted. Momo and Occult Guy escape the hospital, and you'd think they'd take a moment to process what just happened. Nope. They're too busy arguing again, this time about who saved who. So, what's the takeaway from this chaos? Aliens are creepy, ghosts might be real, and if you ever find yourself in a haunted, hospital-turned-UFO hotspot, maybe just stay home instead. Also, Momo is an absolute queen, and Occult Guy? Well, he's trying his best. That's it for episode 1. If you're not hooked yet, I don't know what to tell you. Stick around though. This series only gets wilder from here. Don't forget to comment your favorite moment. Mine? Definitely the banana demand. Absolute gold. Alright, so this episode starts wild right off the bat. We've got Takakura Ken, our guy who somehow thinks he can boss the supernatural around, refusing to back down. Like my man straight up goes, "Thank you for the curse power," as if he's asking for an extra shot of espresso. Bro, read the room. But hey, credit where it's due, he's trying to set rules, even banning people from using his name. Pretty sure you can't make demands when you're cursed, but okay, King, go off. Meanwhile, Ayase is clearly the only one with a shred of common sense here, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Things are about to spiral faster than a TikTok challenge gone wrong, so it's already morning. Don't ask me how they survived the night without losing their sanity. And Takakura is acting like the most passive-aggressive roommate ever. He's throwing side eyes and weirdly commenting on Ayase's mood. Like, "You're looking kinda pleased, huh?" What is this, a paranormal therapy session? But nah, Ayase's not here for it. She's got bigger problems, like figuring out why the hell everything feels so cursed. Tabo gets mentioned, but honestly, it's giving that one friend who shows up at the worst times. And then there's talk about bonuses coming out at night. Bonus? What bonus? The only thing these two are cashing in is pure chaos. Now, let's talk about Grandma. Oh, this woman is on another level. She's strict, hates men, big yikes for Takakura, and casually mentions almost killing Ayase's ex-boyfriend. Like, what? Also, shout out to Takakura for barely keeping it together while Grandma just vibes, laughing at his misery. She's clearly seen too much and couldn't care less if Takakura's head's about to pop off. At some point, Takakura starts complaining about a burning feeling all over his body, and you just know he's regretting all his life choices. But wait, it gets better. He notices something ridiculous on his head, and Grandma? She's just laughing her head off like she's watching a comedy special. Honestly, I want this level of unbothered energy. Here's where things really start popping off. Apparently, Tabo's grandma mentioned something about a curse being triggered when something was taken, and of course, these two geniuses immediately realize they've messed up big time. Takakura's like, "Don't blame me, you're the one who wanted to challenge me." And Ayase fires back with, "I didn't even care about your story." Absolute gold, these two bickering like siblings at a family dinner. And then Takakura drops this heartfelt, "I've always wanted friends" moment. Cue the dramatic anime flashback music. But Ayase, she's not having it. She calls him out for pushing people away. And honestly, she's spitting facts. The roast session is brutal, but hey, maybe it's the tough love Takakura needs. Out of nowhere, there's this creepy chime. Now, in any normal situation, a chime would just mean a doorbell or something. But nope, not in Dan-da-Dan. Takakura explains that one chime means humans, and another means evil spirits. Like, excuse me? How does he even know this? They realize they've accidentally removed a talisman, which is basically their last line of defense. Takakura's panicking, Ayase's panicking, and I'm sitting here like, y'all should have left this place 20 minutes ago. Just when you think it can't get any weirder, an alien shows up. Yeah, you heard me, an alien. Not just any alien, though. It's the Flatwoods monster. Apparently, it's got connections to Yamanashi Prefecture in Japan and some UFO group. Because of course, ghosts and aliens are besties in this universe. Takakura tries to use his psychic powers to suppress the curse. But spoiler alert, it doesn't work. The alien's just vibing, probably thinking, what's with these humans and their bad decisions? Then comes Turbo Baba. Now, I don't know who named this, but it sounds like a bootleg video game boss. Anyway, Turbo Baba's power hits Takakura like a freight train. Dude's moving at superhuman speed, but he's so uncoordinated that all he manages to do is hurt his fingers. Classic Takakura. Ayase comes up with a genius plan to use sumo techniques to defeat the curse. Like, where did she even pull that idea from? Takakura's all fired up, but getting close to the curse without dying is proving to be, well, impossible. Things escalate quickly. Takakura's holding the curse with one hand, Ayase's trying not to lose her mind, and then boom, the alien makes contact again. At this point, it's pure chaos. Takakura's yelling, "Ayase-san, break the curse!" like his life depends on it. Spoiler alert, it does. Somehow, they manage to trap the curse and save the day. Takakura's all, "I thought I was going to die, and honestly, Same, buddy, same. The curse is finally gone, and Takakura can breathe again. But then, out of nowhere, he notices Ayase's new hairstyle and decides to comment on it. Like, sir, this is not the time! But wait, there's more! Just when things start to settle down, Takakura starts feeling dizzy, and the episode ends on a cliffhanger. What's happening to him? Is the curse really gone? Or is there another twist waiting to mess up their lives? Alright, buckle up again, folks, because third episode of Dan to Dan is going to be wild. And I mean wild. This one's got curses, spirits, and a whole lot of awkward moments that'll make you laugh, cringe, and question your life choices all at once. Let's dive in. So, it kicks off with one of those hilariously awkward moments where someone just knows too much about you. You're 27, right? I'm 20. You live alone like curry and ramen, right? Excuse me? Who even starts a convo like that? It's like someone pulled your Google search history and slapped it into small talk. But trust me, this creepy level of detail is just the appetizer in this cursed buffet. Then the music kicks in, you know, that classic anime buildup that says, yup, something weird is about to go down. And boy, does it. Someone casually brings up Dodoria Santa, and I'm sitting here like, is that a yokai or a seasonal discount at the mall? But no time to process because someone else chimes in, do you really have superpowers? Oh, and it's not a polite curiosity, it's the prove it or I'm calling your bluff kind of vibe. Love that energy. Cue the supernatural chaos. Someone's grandson, bless his heart, has brought home trouble, and the grandma is not having it. My skin's drying out because of this stress, she says, ready to throw hands. Like, forget moisturizer. Her solution is full-on exorcism vibes. But hold up, this granny isn't just your average complaining elder. Nope. She's got a boundary trap set up. That's right, a literal line drawn in the sand, and if you step over it, game over. And get this, she's so confident, she's throwing out lines like, you're too slow, you can't beat me. Ma'am, are you secretly a retired shonen protagonist? Because that level of smack talk is next level. But let's talk about Turbo Baba for a second. This is where things go from hilariously cursed to, oh no, we're doomed. Turbo Baba isn't your run-of-the-mill yokai. Oh no, this granny on wheels used to be called 100 Kilometer Baba, which sounds like the worst road trip companion ever. Apparently, she's been haunting a tunnel and combining her curse powers with a self-destructive spirit. That's like a double shot of espresso, but, you know, deadly. One character tries to back out like, you're not involved in this, so just go back to your normal life. And the other guy's like, nah, I'm here for my bro, ride or die, literally. You gotta love the loyalty, even when it's borderline suicidal. Now here's where it gets even funnier. The crew realizes they have to lure Turbo Baba out of her territory to weaken her powers. Sounds smart, right? But then someone points out, yeah, but look at those soft legs. No way we can play tag with her. Soft legs? Bro, this isn't gym class. We're fighting a turbocharged ghost grandma. But hey, props for addressing the team's cardio issues. Priorities, am I right? The gang decides to train, which is peak anime logic. We've got a super strong yokai coming for us? Let's hit the gym. Glasses guy gets roped into strength training while someone else is told to do push-ups, sit-ups, and squats like it's a fitness boot camp. And the kicker? One of them admits, I have no stamina at all. Oh, good. Perfect time to start, buddy. Amid all this chaos, we get a sprinkle of awkward teen drama. Someone tries to play it cool, saying, I don't care about the kid, but their friends are like, yeah, sure, whatever you say. Classic denial. It's giving tsundere vibes, and we're all here for it. Then comes the real kicker. A surprise news broadcast. Apparently some idol has been lying about her age and food preferences. Like, who cares? We've got curses to deal with. But the crew somehow gets distracted by this ridiculous revelation, proving once again that anime characters have the attention span of a goldfish. Now, about these curses, turns out they're contagious. If you see someone cursed, boom, you're cursed too. The stakes are high and the comedy is even higher. One guy freaks out about needing the bathroom but doesn't want to curse anyone in the process. It's the kind of awkward, high-stress moment that feels painfully relatable. We've all been there. Maybe not with a curse, but you get the idea. There's also this whole subplot about unlocking someone's superpowers, which used to be insanely strong but are now sealed. And the reason? It's a hassle. Imagine being that OP and deciding, nah, too much work. Peak anime logic, folks. Finally, the episode wraps up with Turbo Baba making her dramatic entrance. Blood's coming out of someone's ears, people are panicking, and the tension is through the roof. But instead of backing down, the crew's gearing up for a showdown. Someone even busts out a spirit-proof vest like it's a casual accessory. Talk about being prepared for anything. And just when you think things couldn't get crazier, there's a cliffhanger. Turbo Baba's curse weapon is ready to go, and the gang's left wondering if they're about to meet their doom. Cue the ominous music and a "to be continued" that makes you want to throw your popcorn at the screen. So, what's next for our gang? Will they outrun Turbo Baba? Can they break the curse? And seriously, will someone please explain the deal with that idol drama? Stick around, because next time, we're diving deeper into this supernatural mess. It starts off with our two favorite disaster magnets, Seisan and Mochan, trying to strategize against their latest nightmare, Turbo Grandma. Yep, you heard that right. A turbo-powered granny is the villain of the day, and let me tell you, she's no sweet old lady handing out hard candies. This woman is a menace. Think Tokyo Drift meets Grandma Energy. So the episode kicks off with a classic squabble. Seisan and Mochan are arguing about who should go first, and it's exactly what you'd expect from two people trying to avoid being a speed demon's next target. Mochan pulls the ladies first card, but Seisan's like, nah, we need strategy. Honestly, it's chaos right out of the gate. But then, Mochan asks the real question we're all thinking. What do we even do if Turbo Grandma comes out? Seisan's got a plan. Lure her out, get her to self-destruct, and then finish her off. Sounds simple enough, right? Wrong. This is Dan, people. Nothing ever goes according to plan. As they're debating their genius plan, the real show begins. Turbo Grandma comes barreling toward them, and let me just say, she's not your average granny. She's got speed, power, and the kind of energy that makes you question if she's fueled by caffeine or pure rage. Seisan tries to hype himself up like, we've beaten a giant alien before, so how hard can a grandma be? Famous last words. The moment she shows up, the two are already second-guessing their life choices. Seisan's confidence starts to wobble faster than Jenga blocks in an earthquake, but Mochan's like, don't worry, bro, I got your back. Except, let's be real, she's also freaking out. It's a whole lot of, I can do this, no, I can't do this, followed by a pep talk and then some solid roasting. Mochan's like, you broke the curse and didn't even tell me? You sneaky little pig thief. Honestly, I felt that. Seisan's out here using powers without a heads up, and Mochan's calling him out. Classic. Now, here's where things get spicy. Turbo Grandma decides they're gonna settle this with a good old-fashioned game of tag. But this ain't your backyard tag. Oh no, this is Turbo Granny Death Tag TM. The rules? Run for your life for 10 minutes. If she catches you, you lose. There's no safe zone, no timeout, and definitely no chill. Seisan and Mochan are like, are we really doing this? But they don't have a choice. Turbo Grandma starts counting down, but of course she cheats. What a power move. As the game starts, it's pure adrenaline. Seisan's out here sprinting like he's training for the Olympics, while Mochan's trying to keep up. Turbo Grandma, meanwhile, is zooming around like she's got a turbo boost button. Every time they think they've outrun her, she's right there, flexing her speed and cackling like a maniac. At one point, she's clocked at 120 km/h, no joke. Like, who even needs cars when you've got Turbo Grandma on foot? And at this point, Seisan and Mochan are running out of steam. Turbo Grandma's closing in and things are looking grim. But then, plot twist, Mochan pulls out some weird curse power trick that throws Turbo Grandma off her game. It's one of those moments where you're like, wait, what just happened? Seisan's just as confused, but he rolls with it because, hey, anything to survive. But Turbo Grandma isn't giving up. She's got this wild grip that can grab onto anything, even invisible stuff. She's like, you think you can escape? Think again. And honestly, her determination is both terrifying and kind of impressive. Respect your elders, am I right? The action gets even crazier when a helicopter shows up out of nowhere. Yes, you read that right, a helicopter. At this point, I'm questioning everything, like who called in air support? Is Turbo Grandma moonlighting as a pilot? The chaos levels are through the roof, and I am living for it. Just when you think it can't get any wilder, the episode cranks it up another notch. Turbo Grandma corners Seisan and Mochan, and it's looking like game over. But Seisan has one last trick up his sleeve. He uses the curse's power one more time, even though it's pushing him to his limit. Mo-chan's yelling at him to stop because, teamwork and all that. But Seisan's like, if I don't use this, we're toast. The final moments are intense. Turbo Grandma's speed is unmatched, but Seisan's determination is on another level. He manages to pull off one last crazy move, and for a second, it looks like they've won. Turbo Grandma is down, finally, but instead of feeling like a victory, it's bittersweet. After the battle, there's this moment of reflection. Turbo Grandma isn't just a random villain, she's got a backstory. Turns out, she's been wandering around as a spirit because she died unfairly. She didn't want to become an evil spirit, but circumstances forced her hand. It's one of those, maybe the real monster is society moments. And honestly, it hit harder than I expected. Mo-chan and Seisan are safe, but they're clearly shaken. They know this isn't the end. The living and the dead have their own rules, and sometimes those rules clash. It's a reminder that even in the chaos, there's a weird sense of balance. The episode ends on a cliffhanger, of course. Seisan and Mo-chan are left wondering what other supernatural chaos is waiting for them. Turbo Grandma might be down, but this is Dandadan. You know there's another curveball coming. Maybe it's another spirit, or maybe it's something even worse. Either way, they'll have to face it together, with their signature mix of bickering, roasting, and somehow pulling off the impossible. And that's where we leave it for now. What did you guys think of Turbo Grandma? Let me know in the comments. Next episode's gonna be even crazier. You won't want to miss it. Let me tell you about this epic episode, and trust me, you're gonna want to stick around for every second because Dandadan just keeps throwing punches, both literally and emotionally. So, buckle up. Grab your snacks. It all starts with our main character, clearly overthinking a simple morning greeting. Like, they're standing there, full-on rehearsing how to say good morning like it's the finals of some Olympic event. Bro, it's a greeting, not a TED Talk, but hey, props for the dedication, I guess. They're all, I practiced last night, I've got this. And then immediately spiral into this mental mess about whether they're cool enough or if they're about to embarrass themselves into oblivion. Relatable, right? Except, most of us don't have dramatic music scoring our every awkward move. Anyway, just when they're hyping themselves up to make the grandest good morning debut of their life, they notice something weird. Someone's standing there with their back turned, like they're waiting for someone. But hold up, it's not them. Cue the existential crisis. They're all, should I say something? Should I leave? Is this some kind of setup? And at this point, I'm screaming at the screen like, dude, just say hi and move on. But no, instead we get this internal monologue that spirals so hard, it makes my brain hurt. They eventually decide to ignore it, which honestly is probably the best move considering how messy things are about to get. Fast forward to 4:44 a.m. because why not pick the spookiest possible time, and they're called to some mysterious meeting. Now let me tell you, if someone calls me at that ungodly hour, I'm pretending my phone doesn't exist, but this character, nope. They're up, they're ready, they're packed. I mean, sure, their heads spinning with memories from the previous day, but they're committed. Except, plot twist, they lose their phone. Classic. And instead of freaking out like a normal person, they're all, it's fine, I'll survive, while clearly not surviving. I mean, come on, your entire life is on that thing. Who's got time to be chill about that? Then things get even weirder. They start rambling about aliens. Like, out of nowhere, they're deep in thought about how far aliens have to travel and what they eat. Bro, focus. You've got bigger problems. Like the fact that your social life is hanging by a thread and you've somehow managed to make everyone think you're a total weirdo. But no, let's talk about alien snacks. Sure, why not? By this point, the morning has gone from awkward to full-blown cringe fest. They're convinced their UFO talk made them look like a loser, and now everyone's avoiding them. You can practically hear the sad violins playing in the background as they spiral into this self-pity pit. And just when you think it can't get any worse, they overhear some gossip. Apparently, the person they were trying to impress is already chatting with someone else. Ouch. The betrayal. The drama. I felt that. So naturally, they're torn between apologizing for their awkwardness and just giving up entirely. But instead of doing either of those things, they double down on the awkward energy. At this point, I'm face-palming so hard I might leave a mark. Like, Bro, read the room. But no, they're still holding out hope that maybe, just maybe, they can make things right. Spoiler, they can't. Now, let's talk about the Turbo Baba situation. Apparently these guys defeated Turbo Baba earlier, which sounds like a boss fight straight out of a video game. They're all relieved, thinking the curse is lifted and everything's back to normal. But, no, of course not, because this is Dan, where nothing is ever that simple. Someone brings up a bullet, yeah, an actual bullet, and suddenly everyone's losing their minds trying to figure out what's going on. One of them even calls it a pencil at first, which, like, same. Who's out here analyzing bullets like it's CSI? And then, anyway, they realize there's something super sketchy about this so-called bullet. Turns out it's tied to some kind of aura, and now they've got to pull this thing out like it's a bad tooth. But wait, it's not even the person's aura. It's something foreign. Cue the dramatic music and the "oh no, what have we done?" moment. They all start panicking, but one of them decides to step up and try to yank this weird aura out. Let me tell you, watching them concentrate like their life depends on it is both hilarious and stressful. Like, you half expect someone to yell, "It's not that deep, bro!" But also, it kinda is that deep. And then, just as they're about to grab it, bam! It disappears. Classic anime move, right? Build up all this tension, only to have the thing vanish at the last second. I'm sitting here screaming, "Are you kidding me?" While they're all scrambling around like, where did it go? But wait, there's more. One of them finally catches it, and you think, all right, maybe they've got this under control. Nope. They immediately go, "I'll kill it." Like, that's a totally normal reaction. I mean, sure, go for it, I guess. What could possibly go wrong? By the end of the episode, they're all a hot mess. One of them's evolving their abilities like it's Pokemon, another's still cracking jokes about rotten lemons, and the rest are just trying to keep it together. It's absolute chaos, and I am living for it. But of course, just when you think they're about to wrap things up, the episode ends on this cliffhanger that makes you want to throw your popcorn at the screen. Like, seriously, can we just get one win for these guys? Just one? And that's how this episode ends. But don't worry, I'm the spoiler, and will tell you every single detail about Dan. This episode of Dan was straight up chaos, but in the best way. We've got golden balls, demons, turbo grandma, and more school drama than a high school reunion gone wrong. Let me break it down for you in the most entertaining way possible. Okay, so here's how it starts. Someone's out here stressing over a golden ball. Not just any golden ball, mind you. It's a 5 cm glowing orb wrapped in some serious spiritual power. Imagine trying to find that in a place where spirits and monsters are all lurking around like they're at a buffet. Why do they want it? Apparently, these creepy spirits think they can snack on the ball's life force to resurrect themselves. Yeah, that's not terrifying at all, but let's talk about our main guy for a second. He's pacing around, sweating bullets over this thing. If someone else took it, we're toast. Yeah, no pressure. And just as you'd expect, no one knows anything. Turbo Grandma's power is still chilling in the background, and it's not exactly the kind of chill you want. The vibes are already weird, and we're barely 5 minutes into this chaos. So while we're all busy worrying about spiritual balls, not a sentence I thought I'd ever say, the school gossip scene decides to heat up. Someone starts whispering about Ayase-san. And no, not like, oh, Ayase-san aced her math test. Nah, it's more like, did you hear? She lets anyone sleep with her. What? Who starts these rumors? Our guy's reaction is priceless. He's all, who said that? That's not true. And he's right to be mad. Like, bro, the man's trying to save the world with a glowing orb, and y'all are over here dragging his friend through the mud. The audacity. Anyway, he tries to keep it together, but let's be real, it's a mess. Speaking of messy, there's this girl who's convinced Ayase is a full-on demon. I'm not joking, she's like, I saw her demon wings, she's evil, I'm chosen to save the world. Girl, what? Someone get this kid a Netflix subscription because she's been watching too many paranormal shows? But then, plot twist, she actually finds the golden ball. Yep, just casually stumbles upon it like it's not the literal centerpiece of our spiritual crisis. And she's holding it up like she just won the lottery, all smug, like, this is my destiny. Meanwhile, everyone else is like, put the ball down, Susan. You don't know what you're doing. Spoiler alert, she doesn't. Now, just when you think things couldn't get weirder, in walks Turbo Grandma. And guess what? She's at school. Yeah, I don't know why either. 1 second, she's roasting demons. The next, she's wandering the halls like she's on a nostalgia trip. But don't let her fool you. Grandma knows her stuff. She's the one connecting dots and pointing fingers at a mysterious woman in a red dress. This woman? Oh, she's not just a fashion statement. She's trouble with a capital T. Grandma's like, stay cautious, this chick's dangerous. And when Turbo Grandma calls someone dangerous, you know it's serious. Alright, here's where things hit a whole new level. The red dress woman shows up, and let me tell you, she's not here for a PTA meeting. She's got minions, a terrifying aura, and a serious grudge. Our guy's trying to figure out how to deal with her while still juggling the whole golden ball, evil spirits, save the world situation. There's this moment where she confronts Ayase, and it's intense. Ayase is trying to act all calm, but you can see the fear in her eyes. The red dress woman is all, give me the ball! And Ayase's like, over my dead body. Bold move, Ayase. Bold move. Hey, man. Now here's where the emotional punches start landing. Mid-fight, our guy has a vision, or maybe it's real. It's his mom. She's all ghostly and mysterious, saying cryptic things like, come back, my child. Cue the waterworks. He's losing it, and honestly, so are we. But there's no time for tears because things escalate fast. The red dress woman starts breaking rules left and right. She's attacking humans now, which apparently is a big no-no in demon etiquette. Our guy's like, you can't do that. And she's all, watch me. The audacity. But it's not just a fight anymore, it's personal. The stakes have never been higher. Finally, just when it seems like things can't get any crazier, bam! A huge showdown kicks off. Ayase and our guy are standing their ground. Turbo Grandma's gearing up for battle, and the red dress woman is bringing the heat. But then, plot twist. They realize there's a second player in this game. Someone else is pulling the strings. Who? We don't know yet, and that's where it ends. Yep, they left us hanging like that. Thanks, Dan. Now I've got trust issues. So what's the deal with the red dress woman? Who's this mystery person behind her? And most importantly, what's gonna happen to the golden ball? All I know is, Turbo Grandma better come through because things are spiraling out of control. Stick around because the next episode is bound to be even crazier. If you thought this was wild, you haven't seen anything yet. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the madness. Trust me, you'll want to be here for this. This episode of Dan was a roller coaster that didn't even bother to check if you were strapped in. We're talking fights, emotions, and some straight up, what the heck is happening moments. So let me break it down for you, but fair warning, you might end up as emotionally wrecked as some of these characters. Okay, so we start with Momo in some serious trouble, right? She's trying to make a run for it, but apparently every obstacle in the world decided to show up like, not today, sis! And just when you think she's about to get away, this pig-looking weirdo shows up blocking her way. Like, dude, who even invited you to this party? Momo, being the queen she is, doesn't back down, but you can see she's low-key panicking. And honestly, who wouldn't? She's surrounded, outnumbered, and out of options. But then, boom! She flips the script with some acrobatic moves. I mean, she's out here channeling her inner ninja gymnast combo, and I'm like, girl, are you auditioning for the Olympics or something? Meanwhile, her opponent is over there like, you can't escape my acrobatic attack. Bruh, who says stuff like that in the middle of a fight? It's giving Saturday morning cartoon villain vibes, and I'm here for it. But also, like, chill out, my dude. Take a nap or something. Then there's this whole creepy monologue about how if Momo doesn't want to call this guy mom, he's just gonna eat her and make her a part of him. Excuse me? What in the Hannibal Lecter is going on here? And Momo's just standing there, probably regretting every life choice that led her to this moment. But she's not going down without a fight. Oh no. She's got that look in her eye like, I didn't come this far to get eaten by some wannabe Cirque du Soleil reject. And let's not forget the whole thing about aura. Apparently this guy has a plan to connect his aura to eras or something. Like it's Bluetooth. He's all, tell me how to do it, like Momo's running a tech support hotline. But she's not about to spill the beans because, you know, she's not stupid. Instead, she's out here dodging attacks and trying to figure out how to get out of this mess alive. Honestly, Momo deserves a vacation after all this drama. Oh, and speaking of drama, can we talk about the emotional punches this episode throws? At one point, someone starts reminiscing about their mom, and it's like, whoa, where did all these feelings come from? There's this whole bit where a kid is told their mom and dad went to a faraway place and won't be back for a long time. I mean, ouch. That's the kind of stuff that hits you right in the childhood trauma. And then there's this line about becoming strong so you can make your mom proud when she comes back. I'm not crying, you're crying. But then things take a turn for the weird again. Someone, possibly Momo, has this realization like, oh wait, I was someone's mom. And suddenly it's like the whole plot flips upside down. Who's protecting who here? Who's the real monster? Honestly, I don't even know anymore, but I'm hooked. It's like watching a soap opera with aliens and supernatural powers thrown in for good measure. And speaking of supernatural powers, can we take a moment to appreciate how wild things get during the fight scenes? There's all this talk about aura being like a battery, and if someone runs out of it, they're just done for. Like, poof, gone. But instead of just accepting that, the characters are out here trying to defy every rule in the book. Someone's like, what if we can help her move on? And another person's like, nah, that's impossible. The back and forth is honestly hilarious, but also kind of heartbreaking because you know they're trying their best. Then there's this one character who starts spiraling into regret, saying stuff like, I wish I had bought her cuter clothes, and I wish she'd been born into a better life. And let me tell you, that hit harder than it had any right to. Like, who gave Dandadan permission to make me feel this way? 1 second, I'm laughing at someone getting roasted, and the next, I'm questioning my entire existence. Talk about emotional whiplash. And just when you think it's all over, there's this scene where someone is holding onto a fragile bridge, metaphorically speaking, and trying to keep everything together. They're dealing with work, meals, death, just all the things life throws at you, and they're searching for something real, not the fake, pretentious stuff, but something that actually matters. It's deep, y'all. Like, sit in a dark room and think about your life choices, kind of deep. But of course, Dandadan being Dandadan, it doesn't let you sit with those feelings for too long. Before you know it, we're back to the chaos, with characters throwing hands and trying to outmaneuver each other, and honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. Now, I know what you're thinking. What happens next? Well, my friends, that's the beauty of this show. It leaves you hanging, wanting more, and maybe even shouting at your screen like, don't stop now. But that's exactly what keeps you coming back. So, if you're as invested in this wild ride as I am, you're not going to want to miss the next episode. Trust me, it's only going to get crazier from here. Think about it. 1 second, you're chilling with your quirky grandma, and the next, boom! You're smack in the middle of what feels like an anime mashup of Fast and Furious, Stranger Things, and a little bit of Men in Black. That's Dandadan for you. A full-throttle roller coaster that doesn't care if you've caught your breath or not. First up, we've got Takakura, our guy who's a bit too serious for someone constantly surrounded by chaos. Dude's out here trying to reason with demons and convince his enemies he's not their enemy. But let's be real, it's hard to win arguments when your grandma, who apparently looks too young to be anyone's grandma, is in the background yelling, "Shut up, Takakura!" I mean, what kind of family dynamic is this? If my grandma was that feisty, I'd have trust issues for life. And then Takakura starts arguing about who's a demon and who's not. Bro, if you're fighting acrobatic battles while also denying you're a demon, you're not exactly winning the argument. It's like someone trying to convince you they're not a gym rat while flexing biceps the size of tree trunks. Nah, we're not buying it. Oh, and can we talk about this random line? It was delicious. Like, what? What was delicious? The argument? The drama? A demon's soul? Someone's got to stop these writers from dropping cryptic one-liners like they're in a Quentin Tarantino movie. Takakura's over here trying to look deep, but really it's giving misunderstood edgy teen vibes. Okay, let's shift gears to Ayase. She's got her own problems, like being trapped in a room where the water is rising faster than my anxiety at a family reunion. And what's her brilliant escape plan? She's over here contemplating life, love, and the meaning of it all. Meanwhile, Takakura's busy freaking out about mantis shrimp punches. Yes, you read that right. My guy's calculating the physics of a shrimp punch like he's in a Discovery Channel documentary. Takakura, buddy, the water's rising. Now's not the time to think about shrimp or statues. Honestly, watching him scramble was like seeing someone argue with their GPS mid-road trip. You know you're doomed, but you're still holding on to hope that maybe, just maybe, you won't hit a dead end. Now here's where things go from wild to straight up awkward. Takakura tries to confess his feelings to Shiratori, and it's like watching someone use a pickup line they Googled 5 minutes ago. He's all, when you confess you have to kiss, right? I read it in a book. Bruh. What book was that? Dating Tips for Dummies? Shiratori's face must have been priceless because she fires back with, what book did you read? That's not how this works. Classic roast, she's the queen of calling people out, and then Ayase walks in. Oh boy, the drama. She's all, you were supposed to be working on a report, and now you're here sweating and stripping down with a girl? This is some reality TV level drama. Someone get the popcorn. All right. Just when you think things can't get any crazier, the aliens show up. And what's their big evil plan? Collecting human reproductive organs. Yep, you heard that right. These aliens aren't here to take over the world. They're here to raid our, inventory. I don't know whether to laugh or be deeply disturbed. Takakura's reaction? They're worse than Yukai. Bro, worse than Yukai? That's a hot take. Shiratori, bless her soul, tries to reason with these extraterrestrial organ thieves. Meanwhile, Takakura's all like, I can't protect you, run! Dude, maybe if you stopped obsessing over mantis shrimp punches, you'd actually be helpful right now. And then comes the banana conversation. These aliens keep talking about bananas like it's some metaphorical treasure. Takakura's over here trying to figure out if this is some weird alien code, and Shiratori's just like, what kind of cursed powers are you talking about? Honestly, at this point, the plot is holding on by a thread, but it's so ridiculous you can't look away. In the end, Takakura decides it's time to stop lying to himself. He's got to get stronger, not just for Ayase, but for himself. And honestly, respect. But then he immediately ruins it by saying, I've been possessed by the spirit of a mantis shrimp. Takakura, my dude, you had one job, to sound cool. Now you're just that guy at the party who won't stop talking about his weird spirit animal. So, yeah, Dandadan is absolute chaos. Between the demon debates, rising water disasters, alien invasions, and awkward romance, it's like someone threw every genre into a blender and hit turbo. But you know what? That's what makes it so damn entertaining. You're not just watching a story, you're surviving it alongside these hilariously clueless characters. Anyway, if you're still here, you're a real one. I've got plenty more anime chaos coming your way. Listen up, folks. This episode of Dandadan is straight up chaos. Like, I don't even know where to start, but let me try and break it down. So, we've got Ayase, Takakura, and the whole gang doing what they do best. Getting into ridiculously over-the-top situations with powers that make you question the laws of physics and sanity. The episode opens with Ayase pulling off some kind of wild acrobatic move that honestly had me questioning if gravity even exists in this universe. And of course, Takakura, being his awkward self, has to comment on how scandalous the whole thing looks. Dude, focus on the battle, not the pose. But no, instead of fighting, they're out here roasting each other like it's a comedy show. Ayase is all, what do you mean by banana? And I swear I almost spit out my drink because Takakura's comeback made 0 sense. Like, what banana? Is this a secret code or something? Anyway, things take a serious turn when a new enemy steps in, looking all smug and ready to steal the spotlight. This guy starts flexing his powers like he's the main character, but Ayase isn't having any of it. She's like, you think you can handle me? Think again. And let me tell you, the back and forth between them was pure gold. Ayase's got that sass, and Takakura's trying to keep up, but let's be real, he's just there for comic relief half the time. Now, just when you think things couldn't get more intense, another enemy pops up. Yup, double trouble. This new character starts talking about evolution, and how they're here to push everyone to the next level. Honestly, it felt like a villain monologue straight out of a Saturday morning cartoon, but it worked. The whole squad's powers are being tested, and it's clear they're not prepared for what's coming. Takakura tries to act tough, but we all know he's just winging it. He's like, you'll never defeat me. And Ayase immediately shuts him down with, don't get ahead of yourself. I mean, can we take a moment to appreciate their dynamic? It's like watching siblings bicker during a high-stakes showdown. But don't get me wrong, they've got each other's backs when it really counts. And speaking of teamwork, there's this moment where they realize they might actually have to combine their powers to stand a chance. Takakura's all, together we're unstoppable, while Ayase's rolling her eyes like, yeah, sure, whatever. But hey, desperate times call for desperate measures, right? They're up against someone who can literally hit invisible barriers and laugh about it. The squad's struggling, and the tension is real. Then there's this weird romantic subplot that sneaks in out of nowhere. One of the enemies starts flirting with Ayase, and she's like, "My heart belongs to someone else." Cue Takakura looking all confused and maybe a little jealous. It's hard to tell with him because he's always so awkward, but the whole scene felt so out of place. It's like, guys, focus on the fight. This isn't the time for love confessions. And just when you think things couldn't get any more chaotic, a mysterious woman enters the scene. The way everyone freezes, you know she's a big deal. Takakura's like, "It's her. I can't believe she's here. Who is she? What's her deal?" No one knows, but the vibe immediately shifts. Ayase steps up and declares, "It's finally time to end this." And you can feel the hype building. But of course, nothing goes smoothly in this show. The villains aren't backing down, and the squad's struggling to keep up. At one point, Takakura gets hit so hard, he starts questioning his life choices. Meanwhile, Ayase's out here dodging punches like she's in the Matrix and throwing sass at anyone who dares to underestimate her. Honestly, she's the MVP of this episode. Takakura's trying, but let's be real, he's just not on her level. And let's talk about the water scene. Yes, there's a fight underwater because why not? One of the enemies has this insane ability to move like a shark, and Takakura's over here flailing like he forgot how to swim. Ayase's trying to hold it together, but even she's struggling with the resistance from the water. It's a mess, but somehow they manage to turn the tide. Takakura accidentally discovers that the enemy can't use their full strength underwater, and Ayase uses that info to land a critical hit. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? But just when you think they've won, the big bad pulls out a secret weapon, a freaking laser beam. Yup, because apparently fists and powers weren't enough. The squad's scrambling to come up with a plan, and Takakura's like, "If we break his neck, he won't be able to fire the laser." Ayase's face says it all. Did you really just say that out loud? But hey, desperate times, right? The episode ends on a major cliffhanger. Ayase's charging in for a final attack, Takakura's trying not to drown, and the mysterious woman is just standing there, watching it all unfold like she's got a plan. What's her deal? Will Ayase land the final blow? And can Takakura stop being a liability for like 5 seconds? Guess we'll have to wait for the next episode to find out. This episode of Dandadan is pure havoc, and it's a wild ride from start to finish. So, let me walk you through it in the most chaotic way possible, because if there's one thing this show excels at, it's throwing all sorts of madness your way and making you question what in the world you're watching. But trust me, you're glued to the screen for a reason, and I'll show you exactly why. We start off with this heavy conversation where the characters are wrestling with their own limits. "Give up, I can't save everyone," they say. It's a moment of sheer desperation. These characters are in over their heads, and you can almost feel the weight of it all. If someone calls for help, I can't handle it. It's like they're admitting defeat, but also pushing forward anyway, which is both infuriating and inspiring at the same time. Yeah, they're saying they can't save everyone, but hey, they're not going to stop trying to give it their all, no matter what. Then the action kicks in as one of them says, "I'll put my heart into it until the end." Sounds dramatic, right? But it's what they truly believe in, and it's the kind of attitude that keeps you watching. Of course, things aren't that easy. They don't have the power they need, so they decide to fight differently. And let me tell you, these fights are not just about raw strength. They're more like mental battles where each punch counts. This enemy they're facing? Invisible? Yeah, you heard that right. They're not just battling someone who's stronger or faster. They're battling someone they can't even see. But "I can see through his punches," one character says. Suddenly, it's not just about strength, it's about perception. And even though they're facing this invisible threat, they're holding their ground, using their wits to outmaneuver the enemy. But here's the catch. They're not in the clear yet. Our bodies are connected now. What does that even mean? Well, it's one of those classic anime twists where characters have to rely on each other in ways they never thought they would. If they don't work together, they're toast. The stakes are high, and it's not just about fighting anymore, it's about survival. The drama continues to escalate as characters push each other to their limits. One character even pulls off some ridiculous moves to protect everyone, but you're too close. You'll get blown away with me. Yeah, things get a little tense, and the usual anime trope of sacrificing oneself for the team gets thrown into the mix. But hey, it's the kind of plot twist we all expect, right? They're fighting for their lives, and sometimes that means taking risks no one else will take. The humor doesn't leave though, even as things go from 0 to 100. You can't ignore the moments where characters are cracking jokes, even in the heat of battle. Like when one says, "Great advice, Daichi," in the middle of a chaotic fight. I mean, it's the kind of ridiculousness that makes you laugh, but also wonder how they're even managing to keep things together in the first place. Then, we move on to one of the most hilarious moments of the episode, Ayase's struggle. She's supposed to suppress some weird, supernatural power, but you're completely useless. She's getting roasted left and right. And let me tell you, it's hard not to feel sorry for her, but at the same time, you're laughing at how everyone is just going in on her. Seriously, salary deduction for another 6 episodes? Ouch. She's definitely not having the best day, but you can't help but enjoy the banter. Now here's where things get even more insane. The walls and ceilings, yep, they start turning into mistakes. Like, what even is that? It's one of those anime moments where the world around them is literally falling apart, and they're just trying to hold it all together. Chaos is afoot, and they need to escape before things get even worse. And just when you think it's about to calm down, oh no! He's here, this is bad. The danger is real, and everyone knows it. But here's the twist. Ayase and company still don't know how to handle it. There's this back and forth where they're all trying to figure out who's in charge and what the next move should be. "I'm the leader here," one of them says, but it's clear that nobody's really on the same page. They're all just trying to figure it out as they go, and it's both frustrating and hilarious at the same time. You've got this whole love triangle thing developing between Momoru, Shiratori, and Shiko, and that just adds to the madness. It's like the show can't stop piling on the drama. "I wasn't jealous," Momoru says, trying to defend himself. But come on, we all know the truth. There's jealousy, there's tension, and there's a whole lot of confusion going on in the middle of this mess. And of course, there's no shortage of accusations being thrown around. Like when Ayase gets called out for being a pervert, yup, the level of absurdity is off the charts. The episode gets even weirder when aliens, or what they think are aliens, start making an appearance. There's a moment where a character literally says, "Grandma, you believe in aliens, right?" And the whole conversation just spirals into ridiculousness. I mean, who's even keeping track anymore? They're dealing with aliens, Kappa, and everything in between, and it's just a roller coaster of nonsense that somehow still works. And don't even get me started on the whole demon's milk situation. Seriously, milk is cow's blood? That's one hell of a theory, but who's questioning it at this point? It's the kind of weirdness you just roll with in this show. You can't even keep track of what's real and what's just pure nonsense. At one point, the characters are literally debating the blood of a Kappa, and it's like, okay, whatever you say, show. We're all here for it. By the end of the episode, it's clear that things aren't about to calm down anytime soon. I can't just go home like this. The characters are caught in this mess of their own making, and there's no easy way out. There are still so many questions, so much chaos, and honestly, it's hard to see how any of them are going to come out of this unscathed. But that's the beauty of Dandadan. It thrives on that uncertainty. As the credits roll, you're left wondering, what's next? How do they even begin to fix everything that's broken in this world? Who's really in charge here? And most importantly, how does this all tie together? Well, we'll just have to wait for the next episode to find out. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, it's that this series doesn't stop surprising us, even when it feels like it's already thrown every wild idea at the wall. Stay tuned. The madness is just beginning, and you won't want to miss what happens next. The episode starts off with a bang, and if you thought this anime was just about weird supernatural shenanigans, buckle up because it throws a whole new layer of drama your way. There's this character, Rocket Engine Pero, and no, this is not a name that screams normal human. It's definitely a sign that things are going to get wacky. Right off the bat, the dude's talking like he's ready to blast off into space, but instead, he's just here to cause some chaos in this already out-of-this-world series. Then the conversation shifts to this wild dynamic between a couple of characters. You've got this childhood friend situation going on, and if you're thinking, oh, it's just some sappy romance, hold that thought, The dude starts talking about his first love, Ayase-san, and honestly, it's just a whole mess of mixed emotions. The guy sounds like the definition of a nice guy, like he's trying so hard to be the perfect sportsman, but it doesn't hit the way he thinks it does. You know the type? Over-sincere, but in a way that makes you cringe. It's not a shock that Ayase-san fell for him, but the vibe he's giving off? Yeah, it's straight up awkward. So there's this whole thing where he's like, "Why are you here now?" And trust me, it's not because he's trying to be considerate, he's just genuinely confused about the situation. You can tell, he's not thrilled about his new living arrangement. And at this point, it's like everyone's trying to figure out why this random childhood friend is moving in. Ayase, clearly done with the whole situation, shuts him down with a "no way," but guess what? It's already been decided. No escape. Welcome to the madness. And then it gets weirder. Ayase-san, this character we've been following, drops this bomb about ghosts. Yeah, that's right. Ghosts. If you're not already on the edge of your seat, now's the time to get there. Apparently, Ayase moved into this house in the mountains and things got, well, let's just say not quite normal. Ayase starts seeing these ghosts, and at first it's like, okay, maybe it's just a glitch in the system, but nope. It gets real. Ayase has to bring in an exorcist to deal with the spirits haunting the house, and guess what? 3 out of 5 of these so-called exorcists end up committing suicide. Yeah, you heard that right. This isn't your regular ghost story. This is Dandadan we're talking about. The last exorcist who survived spills the beans about the only person who can deal with these ghosts. Ayase's grandmother. Like, seriously, grandma's the only one who can save the day? What's going on in this universe? But you can't just get a simple explanation out of Ayase. It's all wrapped up in mystery, and honestly, Ayase doesn't even seem ready to dive into this whole grandma situation. This whole thing feels like one of those family secrets that you don't ask about until you're stuck in the middle of it, and suddenly everyone expects you to figure it out. Now, I have to talk about the internal drama that's happening with some of the other characters. There's this constant struggle where Ayase's trying to be emotionally distant from these people, but also, the guy's not really getting that it's complicated. He wants to train, work on his special moves. Yeah, special moves like this is an anime about saving the world. And in between, you have these moments where he's literally stopping himself from thinking about the romance because he knows it's only going to make everything worse. Ayase's all like, I don't want to care, but I do. This is the emotional roller coaster that's playing out in real time. At this point, things get even messier when Ayase's childhood friend shows up with this whole "I'm here to protect you" act. But trust me, when a dude says he's going to protect you, you already know he's about to screw it up. There's this really dramatic moment when Ayase's all vulnerable and the childhood friend's like, "I stay behind me, I'll protect you." And honestly, it's so extra that you can't help but laugh. This guy needs to chill. But of course, things take a darker turn because, surprise, surprise, there's an actual monster here. Because it wouldn't be Dandadan if there wasn't something extra weird lurking around the corner. The friend is all riled up, ready to face whatever's coming, and Ayase's like, "I'm good, I've got this." But of course, they both end up in this intense situation where the stakes are so high, and you don't even know if Ayase's gonna make it out of this. That's what's so wild about this show. You're never really sure if anyone is safe. Then the emotional drama kicks up another notch when Ayase has this little breakdown about love. We're talking the real love triangle vibes here, folks. This childhood friend is sitting there, all dramatic, saying he's going to protect Ayase, but let's be real. He's also low-key obsessed with her. Ayase's running away from it all, trying to keep some space, but you can feel the tension building up. It's one of those classic anime moments where the character says, "I can't do this anymore," but in their heart, you know they want to. Just when you think things are about to get really bad, Ayase's all like, "I'm not giving up, I'm not leaving," and just goes full-on hero mode. There's this crazy moment where Ayase is ready to face the monster head-on, but you also realize that this isn't just about the monster. It's about Ayase coming to terms with the love story, the choices, and everything that's going down. It's that "I'm fighting for love, and I'll never stop" energy that just makes you root for Ayase, even if they're driving you mad with indecision. And then, the episode ends on this huge cliffhanger. Ayase's big declaration of love, it's wild. The childhood friend goes all in, saying, Meeting you changed my life. And honestly, this moment feels like the culmination of everything Ayase's been through. You know the episode isn't done yet, but just when you think things are calm, the tension is building. There's a huge sense of finality, like it's time to go back, but there's also this emotional undertone that says, I'm still not giving up. It's like they're walking away from everything, but something's pulling them back. So, just when you're all emotionally invested, the episode throws in some confusion with a sudden shift. Like, what's going on now? Did Ayase just change their mind again? Are we going to get some answers next time? The suspense is real, and it's making you want to hit play on the next episode ASAP. Now, I'm not going to spoil too much, but all I can say is, don't blink next time. The way this episode ends leaves everything up in the air, and trust me, you're going to want to see what happens next. So hang tight, because things are about to get even crazier. Here's the last episode, and wow, this episode had everything. Chaos, emotions, and a whole lot of unexpected twists. Let's break it down because there's so much to unpack. We kick things off with Ayase-san, who seems to be the glue holding everything together, even though she's dealing with a lot herself. The whole situation with trying to put someone into the house but not wanting to leave them there was such a roller coaster of emotions. And honestly, who wouldn't want Ayase-san on their side? She's got that mix of kindness and strength that makes her the only one capable of handling the mess. Plus, there's a cat involved, so you already know things are about to get quirky. But then, it starts spiraling into something else. That scientist's room? What's even going on there? It's like a whole subplot of its own. And the way A-chan sneaks out at night? I mean, it's giving rebellious vibes, but you also can't help but wonder what's driving them to do it. The part about Hana-chan joining the mix? It just adds another layer of intrigue because you know it's going to lead to something big later on. There's also this undercurrent of reliance on Ayase-san's grandmother, and I don't know about you, but the way they described her as a human model really hit differently. Like, is she just super composed, or is there something more mysterious about her? And don't even get me started on the Christmas decorations with the lights. It was such a random but oddly fitting touch. The humor here is subtle, but hits hard. Especially when someone mentioned lighting up their butt for action. It's weirdly hilarious, and sets this offbeat tone that somehow works with the chaos. Then we shift gears to Masuzu and her amazing powers. What kind of powers are we talking about here? The way Auntie entrusted Momo with the female spirit was so cryptic, and it feels like there's a much bigger story behind it. And then there's Oka, who just won't let go of whatever weird thing they're holding onto. It's like the episode keeps throwing curveballs. You think you're following the main storyline, but then another side story sneaks in and takes over. The confession scene was another wild ride. It was heartfelt, but also had this comedic undertone that balanced things out. Like when someone said, "My pride is dancing, but I'm still laughing." You couldn't help but feel for them while also chuckling at how absurd the situation was. And the whole thing with the old man's house being cursed? That's a plot point that's definitely going to come back later. The way they casually dropped it like it wasn't a big deal was peak storytelling. And can we talk about the night school part? The atmosphere shifted into something more eerie and suspenseful. The hesitance about going in without permission added this layer of tension that had me on edge. And the part where someone says, "Just do what you want, I'm making a video." Classic chaotic energy. It's like everyone's on their own wavelength, and yet somehow it all comes together. The big emotional moment with Hana was probably the highlight. Waiting until almost 4 o'clock and the reassurance that "I'll wait with you until he comes" was so touching. It showed this depth of friendship and loyalty that contrasts beautifully with the madness happening elsewhere. And then the dramatic reveal about being late due to various things was such a relatable moment. Like, we've all been there, right? And the episode takes another left turn when we get into the spiritual medium territory. The talk about strange auras, ghosts, and shrines dedicated to giant snakes and mythical creatures was just wow. It's like the episode decided to mix in some supernatural vibes to keep things even more unpredictable. And that part about Tsuchinoko Shrine? It's both fascinating and chilling. The lore they threw in here added so much depth to the world building, and you can tell it's setting up for something bigger. Oh, and the Nessie photo bit? That was gold. You can tell the characters are grappling with their skepticism and curiosity, and it's so fun to watch. The dynamic between Momo and the others was on point too. They had this mix of banter and genuine camaraderie that made their interactions feel so real. And the callback to their childhood friendship, that hit in the feels. The way respect and admiration were thrown into the mix showed how layered their relationships are. By the time we get to the haunted hot spring town, things are at an all-time high. The ghost talk was creepy, but the humor kept it from getting too heavy. And the little details, like bringing sweet juice and practicing a kick for Ayase-san, added these charming touches that made the characters even more likable. It's the kind of writing that keeps you invested in everyone, no matter how small their role seems at first. The climax with the mysterious hollow space near the entrance was straight up spine-tingling. You could feel the urgency and fear as they tried to figure out what was going on. And the twist with the crocodile preying on women at the hot springs? Wild. It was such a bizarre but oddly fitting reveal. The way they tied it to superpowers and wolf packs turning into dust was so over the top but in the best way possible. And then the ending. Wow. The visuals of holding onto a bridge in the distance and the sensation of time accelerating. It was poetic and haunting all at once. The idea of Lulu heralding the end added this ominous tone that leaves you wondering what's coming next. It's like the episode gave you just enough answers to keep you satisfied, but left enough questions to make you desperate for the next one. So, where do we go from here? There's so much left to explore. The cursed house, the giant snake shrine, the supernatural powers, and of course the relationships that are just as complicated as ever. It feels like the story is building towards something massive, and I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. Let's see what surprises the next season has in store. Until next time, you can stick with us to explore even more manga spoiler.